Howdy, everybody. Another wonderful Tuesday Hobby Heralds evening. So, tonight, I'm going to be painting this fella, the Gothizzar Harvester. So, probably the one concession to rule of cool in the army. Basically, I put the blades on him rather than the bludgeons, and the bludgeons do mortal wounds. That was an error on my part, but overall, because I don't have large amounts of Mortec, he's probably not super effective anyway. So yeah, a bit of a rule of cool. There's some cool stuff happening on him. We're going to go with our normal sort of stone scheme, but we have some fantastic areas. So we've got the shoulders. Let's bring him a bit closer to the camera here. We've got these runes in his chest. We might do a bit of a glow effect around his eyes. He doesn't have solid eye sockets, but he's got a bit of a glow around the eyes. We've got the runes. I didn't put the little goblin-y dude on his crotch goblin, whatever you want to call him. Yeah, that's what some people call children, but so I put a shield here. So we've got runes and things there. We've got his blades, which are going to look really sweet. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to paint the skeletons and skulls and stuff that are in his little carrier here and that are being transported, all the bones that are being moved. So the fresh bones, basically. They're all going to be like a bone color. They're not going to match the rest of the stone. They're going to be a bone color, and then that way we've got a bit more visual interest in this model. So we're going to have lots of cool stuff happening on this model. We're going to have lots of the blue OSL effect happening. We're going to have some bone. Over here, I think there's a little Stormcast helmet here. He's going to be like a tarnished gold as well. So we're going to have lots of different colored areas on the model. So that's pretty sweet. I'm looking forward to painting him. I finished the Mortec Guard, and I've finished some 5 Cavalos Death Riders, and I've finished my Mortec Crawler for the army so far. So I'm going to do this dude. Depending on how progress goes, I might then turn around and grab some other stuff from up here. We've got some of the characters and things like that. Probably wouldn't hurt to start on soon. So, well, first of all, I'm just going to start with my normal Dawnstone dry brush on this guy here. That should be in this pile. There we are. Dawnstone dry. Our lovely cheap as chips makeup brush here. They're like $2.50 from a cheapy shop. I just go in and I buy $10 worth at a time. So, and that way if I ruin them, I don't feel bad. So we've got a bit of cardboard. Once again, we've got a bit of a box here just to wipe up our dry brushing onto. Okay, on the back of the hand. Yep. So we're just going to, autofocus has been a bit funny in my testing this evening, so I do apologise if it's a bit all over the place. Just going to go down, I'll have to dry brush up this model. Lots of little finicky bits and pieces on this model too, which is going to be, you know, we've got all these little arms and stuff hanging off that are going to be quite painful to dry brush. I'm not going to lie, but I'm just going to have to like hold my thumb under and try and dry brush down. I've already snapped this guy off here in a game the other night. So, howdy to Dan and Cam in the chat. How's it going, guys? Thinking of giving everyone makeup brushes for Christmas. Seen some lovely gift sets. Yeah, they're kind of like a weird... That would be funny, actually. It's like a proper gift set of makeup brushes, which would be a weird thing to give to a hobbyist, but then actually really good thing to give to a hobbyist. I like it. G'day, Jono. Thank you for popping in. I know that you should be asleep, seeing as it's ridiculous o'clock over there, and it's a school night. So, thank you for popping by. I'm probably going to do a Sunday stream this weekend. Hopefully you can drop by and say Kiora on that one as well. Maybe stay for a little while. Stay for a little while. Little bit, little while. One of those two. What are folks working on tonight? Are you still working on Blood Bowl Dwarves, Cam, or? Really feels like I'm not making any headway with this Dawnstone. But it is there. It's just hard to see. Started using makeup brushes about 2 weeks ago. Liking them so far. Yeah, they're a bit of a revelation as far as dry brushing is concerned. Now, I'm sure I don't use them effectively because, you know, you can see people who do amazing blends and stuff like that with them. For me, they're just a good, cheap dry brush, essentially. But I'm sure if you got bigger ones or fancier ones, different sizes or whatnot, you could do some really cool blending on models. Still working on dwarves. You're doing flesh and socks. Fair enough. Typical Tuesday night in for you, Cam. Flesh and socks. So no, that's not what I want. I want Raka flesh next. That could have been bad. Dry brushing the wrong color would have definitely have been bad. Evening, Wookie Monster. Dan, oh, you're painting. I wasn't sure what you would be doing, Dan, seeing as it's whatever time it is over there. Or is it lunchtime now? Just about. Painting some corn monstrosity. Yeah, you showed me that earlier today. Corn mortar skulls. That sounds like a lot of trim. What hobby are you doing, Wookie Monster? If you're doing hobby at all. Painting some skinks. Right. Some filth. That's what I hear. Filth. Need them for Mini Masters Final. Right, okay. So I probably know who you are, Wookie Monster, but I have no idea, but that username gives me no clues. Now, paint on this camera, you silly fool. So we just rack our flesh. You've probably figured out it's Henry. No, I hadn't figured it out. Because there's a couple of people who play skinks in our local meta, so, you know, I don't know. I don't know everyone. Sean, started cutting the foam on your arms and pro board, now working on your AU citizenship application. Right, okay. They're two very distinct tasks that you're undertaking on one night, Sean. Oh, all these tiny arms are making me very nervous about like breaking them off. I'll just bring this up a little bit higher than some of the other stuff I've been doing. Because it's such a big model, I just want there to be a lot of variation. I have to say, Sean, that I saw a photo of your Armies on Parade board on Twitter just before I came on, and that is crazy, crazy stuff. Well, it's good to see that everybody in the chat is hobbying, though. That's pretty cool. I don't know if citizenship applications are hobbying, but you were doing hobbying earlier, Sean. So. This guy isn't quite attached to his base properly, so he's rattling around on me. Might have to fix that. I'm not giving too much attention to the blades because they're going to be my gradient sort of OSL effect later on. So I just want to give attention to the bones and the armor plates. There's some bones in here that aren't getting much love. Don't know if you finished everything you have in your head. Well, what is it? It's like 2 weeks or something for Armies on Parade, or 3. You've got a lot to do. I didn't even consider trying this year. Always that one day thing. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, now's the opportunity. And you've got the perfect army for it. Those orcs are fantastic. Come on now. This pot of Rakar flesh is almost gone. So it's sort of perfect for dry brushing, but no good for painting with, but it's just about gone. Yes, yeah, I don't think I had enough loaded up on my brush before. Just coming along. Righto. Wow, it's amazing how you cannot see that in this camera. I don't know if it's the camera or my lighting. But basically, come on now. Focus. Oh, I had it and then it stopped. Huh. Ah, dear. Still getting the hang of all this. But basically, oh, there we are. Kind of. But basically, you could, for a brief moment, see the fuzzy ghostly effect. Yeah, thanks for that, Henry. Is it gonna do anything for me? There we are. Look at that. I need to figure out how to get this camera to work properly. There we are. You can kind of see where the highlights are. But now I'm going through and I'm painting up all of the actual bone with some Rakarth flesh. Close it before I reshake it, because you know what happened last week when I shook the open pot of XV88. That was really fun. So now we're just going through and just finding all of the actual skulls. That are being picked up by. So we've got these hands here, so we've got this skull. Just looking to paint it. Camera is super clear when it works. Yeah, look, I don't know if this matte is unhelpful because it's got lots of detail happening on it. I don't know if that's half the problem because it tries to focus on the matte. So I might just get rid of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's some sort of, it's focusing on something. It's working fairly well last week, but this week it's just playing up. Also, hi Chris. What are you hobbying on, Chris, at the moment? What are you working on? Is probably a better question there. No, it's not working. Just trying to see if the light is messing with it. Building your next unit of Ishlayan. Ah. So buoyed by the revisions for Idneth in Marathi, have you planned to add anything into this army of yours that you're doing, Chris? Get a turtle or something? tail is definitely going in here. Yeah, I can see that. It doesn't degrade for ages now, does it? Making it super effective. The Iron was already in, but combo's really well with 50 thrall, so you're going to be taking. Yeah, fair enough. So this, just working on this super exciting painting all of the bones. So my plan is to complete this whole model on stream, washes and all. So I've got about 2.5 hours left, roughly, to paint up this entire model. And the way I'll be doing that is because I brought a hairdryer today to dry the wash. Obviously, I will mute the microphone. Yeah, Dan, hairdryer at the ready. I went and bought like a travel one. So basically, I can put the wash on, then just gently dry the model, and then carry on with the other stuff that I'm doing. Because really, it's the wash stage on these models that slows them down. I'm sorry, Chris. This is a hobby stream. You can't be quoting stats in here. It's for hobby and jokes only. I'm just playing with my lights because I don't think moving my face light helped at all. Oh, that is too much water. But I do legitimately think I can get this done in the next 2.5 hours. I bought large amounts of KO on me today. So that was interesting. That's the next project for me personally after these guys. Got other stuff I need to do in between, but Yeah. Went crazy at the local store, and they had yeah, so at Battle Station they had the Star Collecting box, which is cool because it's full of Thunderers and Engine Riggers, and you get the gun hauler and stuff. Then I bought. They had. Then they had the new Warcry Warband box, which was like $100, and it has 5 Thunderers and 3 Engine Riggers in it. So that was a really good deal. Then they also had the Dude in Dirigible suit, which you sort of need to make those Engine Riggers battle line. Then they had the Underworld's Warband as well, which has like it's what $55, and it's got a dude with a volley gun. It's got an extra Thunderer. Like if you bust it out, it's got a couple of Arcanauts, one with a volley gun. It's got Ether Chemist. It's got a dude with a bubble, which you can make like a champion or something like that. Somebody special. So that's good because like a chemist is $40, and this set was $55 because it's the proper one with all the cards or something. I might just punt the cards on, you know, and you get a couple of extra models as well. So that was good. And then they had an admiral. So I need to hunt myself down some. I've got a navigator already. I think I've got a unit of Arcanauts, so I just need to find myself an Ironclad, which I thought I had as well, but I might just not be looking in the right box. So, yeah, pretty much headed towards 2,000 points in a day. And they are sort of like the polar opposite to the Bone Reapers, where, you know, Bone Reapers combat army, KO very much not. So that'll be fun. Phenomenal value. Yeah, it absolutely is. When you think of like if you play them as the Warband in AOS, their guns have longer range than normal and can shoot more than 9. Okay, I might have to look at those rules. But yeah, the Star Collecting box is great value considering like a gun haul is $80 Australian. The Thunderers are about 75 or 77 or something. The Engine Riggers are the same, and your Engine Master is $40. So, like, easily like half price or something like that. It's a ridiculous discount. I wasn't doing the exact maths then, but you know, crazy not to get one, especially if you want Engine Riggers and Thunderers, which is what I did. I'm not sure on the Engine Master himself. I'm not too worried about that. I've got some gun haulers in my list, so I've got one already, and so now I have 2. That'll be fine. Let me just see if I can moderate the crap out of this random bot in here. There we go. They're gone now. You worked out the other day, save $103. That is insane. It's an insane amount of money. So that's awesome. That's half an ironclad. So yeah. Thank you for your optimism too, by the way, in there, Cam. It's a bold plan. Yeah, look. We know what I'm like. But I also promise to not on-sell any more armies. So I have to keep this one now. I'm so glad this bone is in a really good place. It's here under the arm. That when I try and move to get my brush in, I block my own light. That I did. Yes, I did, Chris. You would know, because you were the one I said it to. So okay, I think that is all of the fresh skulls and bones and stuff on the model. Oh, I haven't finished painting this leg hanging out the back here. That sounds like the I won't buy any more models until they are painted lie. Look. The thing is, I buy a project, I do a project, and I on-sell it. But then often I want to come back and redo it. And it's not always the same idea, but it's just a problem. It's a vicious cycle that I shouldn't participate in. So the KO aren't going to be. I think I've figured that out. The key to that too, by the way, is to just not do anything super special with them. So these KO are fairly concepty. The paint scheme I have for the these OBR are fairly concepty. The paint scheme I have for the KO is fairly like it's my own, but it's not. I'm not playing 1,000 conversions and things like that. So like it won't be. It's a model for gaming. It's an army for gaming. So I'm trying to get myself out of the habit of doing a whole army based off one model. Did I get Jacob Bugmanson? Yes, I did. I did pre-order him. So confirmed with the store today. Asked AK. I'm like, oh, just confirming you got my pre-order for the new Bugman dude and Marathi, and he's like, oh, yes, I did, but now I'm going to cancel them because you asked, because he's a prick. Nah, he's fine. Rightio. Not doing KO Pirates. No, KO Pirates are a thing that people have done before. People have done some fantastic KO stuff. Like there's an army on the Australian Facebook Buy Swap Sells at the moment, which is like a pirate orc KO army with flying ships and sails and like the full. These aren't just 40k flying orcs kind of thing. This is the full kit and caboodle. And yeah, better people than me have done it. So it's not going to be something I try. Right, yeah. So I'm going to start going around and doing the. Oh, actually, I might just do this little Stormcast dude there. Where's the Balthazar Gold? It is just over here because I knew my kids were using it before. Because it's going to be old and tarnished, we're going to go Balthazar Gold, not Retributor Armor. So my kids have been painting up their Mortal Realms models. I think Elliot's... we're talking about the... don't paint or buy any more models till you've painted all your models. Elliot has painted all of his Nighthaunt plus extras, so he is able to buy extra models. I feel like he is probably going to be one of those people who can do it. Sorry, I'm just trying to... It's got the tabs stuck in underneath. Try to find something sharp and pointy. Righto, there we go. He's better than... Well, he's also 11 and doesn't have exactly large amounts of disposable income, so I feel like he's not exactly going to be able to rush out and buy whole armies at once. And this, with Mortal Realms, he's able to just paint what he gets. Oh gosh, this takes forever. Thought you were going to do Hallowed Knights. Yes, Dan, so did I, but it is not what's happening at the moment. Oh, nice and shiny gold. I do have the limited edition Mortal Realms magazine Night King Cantor. So I'm going to paint her up as a Hallowed Knight. I bought an extra one. I bought one for me and one for Amelia. This gold still isn't fantastic. I meant to paint the back of that. One of those things, I suppose. Nobody's going to see it. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Righto. Don't want to deploy the hairdryer just yet. What I might do is I might glue the thing down quickly to make sure it's stuck. Yeah. So this is the base it's going on, so it's going to stay here. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do Hallowed Knights, but I just couldn't decide on a direction for Stormcast, and they're kind of one of those armies where you can easily buy 1,000 models and still not have the right army. So decided to just not. Clint's new Stormcast by painting dead ones on OBR. Kind of, yeah. Although, you'll notice that I made this guy a Hammer of Sigmar. Winifred likes to, yeah. See? There he is. He's a Hammer of Sigmar. Paint off this pot, clearly. Righto, so we've got Agrax. I'm just going to wash all over this model. Agrax Earthshade. Close this up. And this will be just as fun as when I did the crawler, trying desperately not to let it pool anywhere and trying to get the whole model. So I have a nice big chunky brush. Start at the top. I also have a feeling, Dan, that painting up this Knight Incantor in Hallowed Knights will probably just scratch that Stormcast itch for me. Same way I was feeling really keen on Nurgle, painted up the Lord of Plagues, and I was pretty much done. Like, I'd got that Nurgle out of my system. I just sort of went, oh, I don't think I can paint, 30 Blight Kings, 40 Blight Kings to this standard. So, solved that problem. And I think edge highlighting silver armor is probably going to be the same sort of deal. Once again, not paying terribly much attention to these blades because they're going to get their own sort of treatment. It's a model full of nooks and crannies. As you can see, we've got the bone is a different tone. So that it looks freshly collected rather than sort of petrified or ossified, or wherever you would like to think of the stone OBR. Try not to let it pool, which is fun over such a large model. Making sure it's being picked up. Do this tail. And the legs. Should probably do up here as well. Oh my gosh. There's just so much happening on this model. I take my hat off to anyone who paints one of these properly. There's just so much going on. Ooh, some of that gold was still wet, so that's good. It's really good. I was listening to the Paint Bravely podcast today, And they were talking about, would you believe it, speed painting. And it was quite an interesting conversation where they discussed why, like, speed painting is a thing on YouTube and stuff like that. Why people feel compelled to do it. It's really quite interesting. I always feel compelled to do it because I want to get this on the table and not have to spend the next 20 years painting it. Because I painted up Ossiarch Bone Reaper properly, and it took me quite a while. So now I'm just trying to pull this gold paint off this hand. Because somebody was an idiot and didn't check whether the gold paint was dry. I've never realised how many little extra bits there are to add onto the eels, like trinkets, ropes, and pouches and stuff. It's a GW kit, Chris. Like, they always put random stuff on that you probably don't need. It's just what they do. Righto. I think that's pretty much it. As far as the wash goes, there's a little bit in here that's not done. Just trying to find those spots where I may have missed. In behind the legs here. Underneath this arm, I think I got a bit distracted with this arm. And then under here, even though it's mostly black, basically what I did with these is I undercoated them black, and then sprayed sort of downwards with Mephiston Grey. So there's a little bit of a gradient in all of the models already before I do any sort of dry brushing and things like that. Right, so now I'm going to try the hairdryer. So wish me luck. I'm just going to plug it in and stuff. I've never used it. Literally picked it up from Kmart today. It's a little travel one. We will see how it goes. It's off currently. Okay. Rightio, so I'm just going to mute the mic so that you don't have to listen to this. Righto. So I am never waiting for washes to dry again. I don't know why it's taken me so long to buy a hairdryer for hobby. It's not 100% dry, but where it isn't dry, I don't think our dry brush is going to touch. So I am next going to go to the next stage of we've got Terminator Stone. It's the all over dry brush. And I was clearly not singing because you could still see me. Sorry, I've done something weird to my wrist the last week or so, and holding that hairdryer has flared it up again. Righto, so we're going to dry brush on the Terminator Stone. Singing on the inside. Well, humming then? No. I'm not a show tunes kind of person. So you can be yourself with us. It is true, though, I am not a show tunes kind of person. My daughter, however, is a great lover of musicals. So, hopefully once 2020 pisses off, then we can actually do theatre stuff again. Take her to many more. Enough alcohol, anyone as a show tunes kind of person. Yeah, see, I don't really drink either, though, Cam. I did enough stupid crap when I was younger, drinking, that I don't need to do it anymore. Plucking out all these bones. So I'm treating the bones with the same dry brush of Terminator Stone as the rest of the model, because it just picks up the high points. And it's still very where are we? Come on. Yeah, maybe. Yep. So you can see. Oh, come off it. What is it focusing on? Maybe I just need to get like a flat black mat or something. Righto. But you can kind of see how the orc skull here is different in tone to the ribcage. Kind of. It's okay. I'll sort out my lighting for next week. Might go and get some extra lights and do some tests. Try and figure out how to make that the best it can be. Because there's no use showing you people things if you can't see them. The nice spiked beverages, everyone is a show to them. So basically, don't accept a drink from you. Probably just needs a plain backdrop. Yeah, something like that. Because there's even wood grain on the table that it was probably trying to focus on. Get myself a black cutting mat or something. And I've got a backdrop for behind me too, coming at some stage too. Doing the proper stuff. Don't want to go too crazy too early. Can probably adjust the brightness and stuff on the actual camera itself too. It's just I don't sort of notice until I start painting how dark it is. Well, baby steps. Can't build a Twitch empire off 3 episodes. I'm sure that's really annoying too, by the way. Righto. So we've gone round and we've done the Terminatus Stone dry brush pretty much downwards for everything. And it's looking pretty decent. I'm pretty sure you probably can't even tell. It just looks like grey, varying shades of grey. Only 3, don't go there. Right, so now we're going to go round with Ashen Grey. I'm going to fill in anything that's going to be glowing later. Make it relatively thin, because this just provides a great backdrop for the dry brush OSL that we're going to do. So I'm just going to go in, paint the blades. And the gems. I'm sure they have a name. The cool little gems that are on everything. Chris, you probably know. I just know that they match the stuff on Arkan, so they've brought that design language through, which is pretty cool. Right, and we're also going to paint this little inlay in here. Have we got any runes? So we've got a little gem thing here. Gems. Yeah, I thought that they would be like all of the... so the Morghasts have them in their chest, and all of the Mortek Guard have them in their like their chest armor and stuff. So I was wondering, I'm sure they probably have a name. I'm sure if we asked Phil Kelly and said, "What are these?" he would reply with some sort of answer. We're just gonna, so we've painted the gem on the banner. We're just gonna, I'll leave off the stuff there. There's the gems there. We're looking around. I'm not going to bother painting in the runes on his chest armor. I'll just do that with the brighter colors. Then we've got this gem here, over here, and then these blades here. How am I looking for time? An hour. Cool, so I have 2 left. I reckon we're golden. Might even be able to base it in that sort of time frame. Just painting that blade. I think that's everything. Yep. Righto, so I'm just going to go back and paint the Stormcast helmet in again. Because I should have left that until after the dry brush, because it's now covered in Terminus stone, which is not what we want for a golden helmet. That was a bit of a rookie error. How thin are we talking? Good. So just yep. Almost dry. Not worth cracking out the hairdryer again for. I'll be dry by the time I'm set up for the next stage. So next stage is our sort of doing our improvised OSL effect, airbrushless OSL effect. So okay, so we're just going to take some Dawnstone. Oh, that's too much. Just one a little bit. Just check the battle. Thank you, Chris, for checking the battle. Literally referred to as gems. Righto, okay. Never mind. Whoever was going to call Phil Kelly, don't bother. They're just called gems. On the back of the hand test. Sweet. Right, so now we're just dry brushing sort of towards the end of the weapons to make them a little bit brighter. Sort of about 3/4 along. Just a quick dry brush around the gems and the panels. I know the brush is huge compared to the area I want. That's okay, we're just going for a little bit of a glow. So having that extra bit of grey is going to help, and we're also going to dry brush the design on this banner. Just from the top down, so it catches the light. Okay, so I've got the end of this one. Not quite enough Dawnstone. No, too much on the brush there. Too much. Oh. And the streaks in there. Also, we're just going to dry brush this gem, that panel, and then the end of this blade. there's a little bit of a fade going there. Cool, so now we're going to add Ministratum Grey for our next layer. It's a bit brighter. Okay. And these are sort of like halfway rather than 3/4. Just fade it in. Oh, that one's a bit heavy. No, on the top there. I'm not too worried about getting a super good fade because it's a speed paint army after all, but it just kind of, it's just a cool effect. I'm just going to lightly dry brush the gem and just pretty much just stippling the panels rather than dry brushing it. Because what I'll do is the final layer, which is Ulthuan Grey, I run it into the lines. So just basically just trying to highlight the area around it. Downwards on this banner, there's the gem on the back. Panel in the crotch there. Panel on the side, the gem again here. And then we come to the blade. So about halfway along. Make sure you get the top. You can kind of see, oh, it was clear for about half a second. Gosh, there we are, the fade there. That's what we're after. So, done that one, and then we're coming to the Ulthuan Grey, which I think it's just about run out, and I bought a new one today. We're drink first. Oh, there's apparently still a lot in that pot. There's a lot on the brush. Just get all of that out. There was more in the pot than I realized, so dumped the brush straight in like a fool, and now it's chockers. Back in the hand test. Yeah, looks alright. Looks alright. So, blade. Basically the last quarter to really bring it up to the white. I say white, it's, you know, that off blue grey that Ulthuan Grey is, but it's close enough to white for our purposes. So we're then just going to put a tint over the top of it. I'm just going to dab that again, just quickly, lightly dry brush that gem over the top. Same with that gem up on his banner, on his back. Flick it down the design on the banner. Goes a crotch shield here. I'm just going to dab that so it's all nice and shiny. Dry brush the gem. Stipple it on this panel. And then we're going to this final blade here, the last quarter of it. Make it nice and bright. So as you can see, where are we? Get the orientation right one time. There we are. So you can see the gradient on the blade. Now I'm just going to water down some Ulthuan Grey to run into all those runes that we've got. So I'm just cleaning out this dry brush because I know that I'll need a dry brush later. Cool. I have a detail brush here. Just going to get some water and some Ulthuan. Just make sure it's really watered down. What are you working on tonight, Kinnigan? I didn't ask you when you popped up earlier. They're generally working on some sort of squig-based madness. So, right, so we're just going to run a really thin... Oh, it's not even close to thin enough. It's a bit warm in here today. I'm just going to run our really thin Ulthuan Grey into these runes. Doesn't matter if we're a little bit messy. We've got some runes on the blade that we're going to do it as well. These runes on the blade are tiny. And the point of this brush is not. Just rub my finger along there to take off excess. Oh, good one, hand. Try and hand it a witch elf. Right. Oh, yeah, yep. One of the free ones. For those close enough to live... for those lucky enough to live close to a GW, getting a free witch elf and your coin if you spend, what is it? Basically a star collecting box worth of stuff. Wish I lived close to a GW. I wouldn't have minded getting a coin for my purchase today. Oh, it happens. I imagine that painting Witch Elf is fairly different to painting Squigs. Or Gits. distinct lack of green. Or orange, I think your squigs are, aren't they? Just waiting for the dedicated dock players using the coin as markers. That's a lot of money. I feel like even if they didn't go and spend $165 each time and they just bought them on eBay, I reckon that's still a ton of money. They'd need to find somewhere to do that. But I'm sure somebody out there will do it. So we're just filling in the runes on the second blade, because they are the tiniest things ever. And his name is Simon Hall. I don't know. I don't reckon that Simon would go that far, would he? I know he will probably own at least 12 of everything in every city at some stage, but I don't know if he'll spend the required amount for all the coins. Unless there's some sort of Polish equivalent. They're not DOK coins, they're DOC coins. Daughters of Cain, but they're spelt differently because they're the Polish knockoff version. He absolutely will. Oh, you reckon? eBay them. Well, when you earn the money, you get to spend it however you want. Yeah, I imagine they're probably up on eBay already. Because you can get them already, can't you? It's sort of like as of this week. The dock coins. I'm sure there's already plenty of them up on eBay. Yeah, you've got yours. Is it from picking up all those handgunners? Yeah, it looks crap with this Hawthorne Grey, just kind of so bright. But once we put the Aethematic Blue over it, it's pretty good. Pre-order the limited edition Marathi book. Sweet. I learnt my lesson with limited edition books in a series with the End Times books. Basically, because like the End Times Nagash book was really easy to get, and then End Times Glutkin and Kane were impossible, and then hell, I'm pretty sure my local store still has a copy of Archaon. So I don't want to really buy limited editions of those sorts of books. You got the full 5 sets of 5 limited edition End Times book. Whew. It's a pretty penny. They're your rainy day fund, absolutely. If you ever lose your job or need to finance a black market organ or something for you or your son, you just sell them. Righto. So we've got all of the white done with the Hawthorne Grey. So we're just going to quickly go through. And I'm going to pop the Aethematic Blue on. Try and get this wash brush. I say wash brush, it's like a 4 Number 4 synthetic brush from Officeworks, but it's pretty good for a wash brush. So we're going to get some Ethermatic Blue in here. Just going to drop it into this area here. Onto this gem. Then onto the blade. You'll notice it doesn't sort of do much on the Eshin Grey when it's wet, but when it's dry it sort of tints it really well. So I've got that there. Gonna have that. And then in the crotch, gem and plate there. I'm going to do this gem up here. I'm just going to run it over the decoration on the banner. I'm not terribly accurate on the banner. Like, look at the size of this brush. So I just kind of paint it around the area so it kind of stains it. You've just sent me a picture, Chris. Is it of your limited edition End Times books? Is it, are you doing a bit of a flex there? Maybe. Oh, good books, the End Times books. I really enjoyed them when they were coming out, but they make me a little bit sad. So I'm going to do another coat of. Oof, that wasn't good. Hit my thumb with this blade, so wiped all the Ethermatic Blue off. Just make sure it's spreading out evenly across the areas. See, it pools in a couple of places, but we don't want that. I don't want it pulling on the back. We want it sort of spread evenly on the flat areas. Alright, so that's done. Came out when you moved here, so you bought Nagash just before I left the UK, and the next 4 releases my first one was. Yeah, fair enough. That's cool. That's pretty cool. They kind of really. So the weekend that Nagash went up for pre-order was the first time I ever went to a non-store based tournament, so an independent tournament. That weekend, I went down and I played at Q&K, which is a club out of Caboolture up here in Queensland. They used to run a Crusade event, which is basically their 2-dayer in August. And I was running my Tomb Kings. And that particular morning, that Saturday morning, they went up for pre-order. I remember getting up early so I could pre-order it, because I think they used to go up earlier. So I got up and pre-ordered that and then went to the tournament. Sort of was talking to people about what Nagash meant for the game and like what this book meant for the game and you know, my Tomb Kings and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. Righto. So we have Mr. Harvester here is all blue up. I'm just going to wash. I'm just going to go and get some nylon oxide. I don't have any on me because I'm just going to do that bronze things. How wrong was I? How wrong was I in terms of what it meant for the game? I don't think anybody predicted that the end times were actually the end times, but anyway. So I'm just going to go to be right back, and I'm just going to go and get some nylon oxide. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. I muted it as I got up as well because I'm not sure if the be right back mutes. So the screen mutes as well. I'm not sure. I'll figure all this out. What was I saying? Something about end times. Oh, I remember going and from sort of Kane onwards getting going there each day. Going there each release day to Battle Station and picking up the book and reading it as quickly as I could and sending photos to my friend Brian of important things that were happening because I knew that he would never buy the books, but he cared about the lore. So especially with Kane because he was an elf guy. So just like sending him pictures of the big stuff, going, "Oh my god, they've done this," or "This has happened," or "Ha ha ha," you know, Malkuth's the Phoenix King, etc., etc. So, cool. So, put the nylon oxide on to the Stormcast skull. I've got the basing paste. This is Vallejo earth texture. So it's the brown. There we are. Look, it auto-focused on something. This is the dark brown earth. It's fairly chunky, fairly brown. It sort of sits somewhere between sort of like steel edge and drab and dry-eyed bark in terms of dark browns. But once I put it down and then put a wash of Agrax over it, it's dark enough for our purposes. You just can't sort of base this stuff with grey because it sort of all blends in. First step, figuring out how mute works, and then taking over the world. Yeah, remembering that I've turned it on to mute because the mic is over there. It's not in my eye line. And figuring out if mute, like when I change those screens to like be right back, whether I even need to mute. Because I think some of them turn off the microphone anyway. So I've just got my texture spreader, which it's one of those tools that's like, oh yeah, G-Dub making a plastic spatula. But I use it all the time. The blue really makes it pop, and like even though when you're putting the Aethmatic blue on, it doesn't sort of look like it's going to be bright. It is really bright. That's why I do the gradient underneath to see. I flipped it around so I didn't have the clean end. So we have this gradient of blue on the model. This one over here is probably the easiest one to see it on. The reason I use Vallejo texture paste is because it is a ton cheaper than G-Dub stuff. They don't do a mid-deserty yellow like Armageddon Dunes. So if I want a desert color, I have to use the G-Dub stuff, but there's brown. They also make like a grey pumice Vallejo. It's like rough grey pumice or something like that, I think it's actually called. See you, Cam. Sorry, I sort of lost you in there that you were going. Catch you later. The rough grey pumice that Vallejo makes kind of dries clear, so you can just see the grit in it. So it's useful if you want to put texture down without doing the PVA and sand thing, and then you paint it later. But I wanted something quick with these guys, so hence the sort of dark brown earth. Just sort of trying to throw it on in all different thicknesses, and then I'll come along later and sort of rough it up. Wouldn't have thought the Aethmatic blue was bright or pigmented enough. Yeah, no, that's why I put the other colours underneath it. I think if you just did it over the top of the sort of what effectively is Terminator Stone is your highest colour on these guys before I do the OSL effect, it wouldn't be as bright enough. So hence the sort of the dry brush gradient and the Orth1 grey, because it sort of Aethmatic blue, it's sort of like a greeny blue. So if you put it over Wraithbone, it's very green. But putting it over Orth1 grey, because Orth1 grey is already bluish in tone, bluish in hue, sorry. It brings the blue out in the Aethmatic blue a lot more. So I really like Aethmatic blue. I reckon it's a great colour. It's what I taught Elliot to do all of his ghosts in, so that it was nice and easy. So basically we do Wraithbone, then Aethmatic blue, then dry brush and stuff like that. So his Nighthaunt are fairly basic, but they're not too bad for an 11-year-old. So I'm just going through and I'm just roughing up this texture now. Righto, so that's that done. Where are we? We're an hour and 45, so I have an hour and 15 minutes with which to dry this, wash it, dry brush it, put some tufts on, and put snow on. I think we're pretty good. So I'm just going to switch to the air dryer again. So I'm going to mute. You want to call it there? No, can I get... I suppose for you folks who down south on your made up time, it's quite late, so I'm just going to mute it now. See, I remember to take it off mute that time. I feel like I'm going to be thwarted by the length of time this is going to take to dry. It's still a bit wet even after that blow dry, so I think it might just sort of have a set sort of go off time. Rather than sort of hot air, I think it's still going to be soft underneath. I'm fairly happy with that. Like, the model itself is done. What I might do is I might start on something else. Let's do that, shall we? What are we going to do? We might do our Soul Mason. Oh, so the model is finished now. Pretty much, man. So aside from, like, because it's just a speed paint, Chris, calm down. It's a concept army. You know that dirty phrase. So it's stone, we've got the bone, we've got the shiny blue, and then basically the texture paint of Agrax Earthshade, and then a dry brush Tyrant Skull. And I put on some Gamer's Grass Winter Tufts, which I need to order more of tomorrow, and some Valhalla Blizzard. So, like, it's the army itself is done, like the model itself is done. We're just waiting on that base, and I think that's going to take too long to set. Go, Dave. Yeah, the Vallejo pace. I think it would be very boring for people to watch me hairdryer it for 10 minutes, so I'm just going to let that go off naturally, and then maybe by the time we're working on this, wondering if you had additional steps like glowing eyes. On normal models, I do the glowing eyes because the Mortec have like enclosed eye sockets, whereas these are like holes. So I don't know whether I just do a line around them with the Orthine Grey and then Aetheric Blue. I don't know. I'll think about that while I do this other dude. But yes, I love the Vallejo pastes. They're really good. What do I want? I want my dry brushing bit of cardboard and some Dawnstone. That is still soaking wet. That's really good. And my other one is still in the water, so that's good. Let's just see if I have a spare dry brush behind me. You know what I do? Ooh, this one's just about done, I reckon. Okay. I thought I had turned off the music telling everyone what was on in the chat, but apparently it has decided to kick on now. Chris, let me just see. Let me just pull out a Mortec from just the container of stuff is just next to me, so. See how good autofocus we can go. No. Cover up the harvester. Come on. This is what I want you to focus on. I'll send you a picture later, Chris. But it's basically the Mortec Guard have glowing eyes. So we're just going to do just going to quickly do the Soul Mason. Be interesting with the Ghost, how I'm going to paint it. I think I might. I need to figure out how I'm going to paint ghostly stuff, because I've still got Arkan, I've still got some other stuff that's ghostly in the army. Like, it'll be the Aetheric Blue, but just how exactly. How are things going for you, Dave? How's Lockdown 2 treating you? Zero difference from your pre-lockdown phase. Well, if you're already working from home, then I can't imagine it would be too different. School keeps sending us emails that parents have confirmed cases, so it feels like it's coming. Yeah, that's a somebody else I was talking to. Dan Wasley. I was talking to him earlier today. He was saying like more people he knows have been affected this time round. Like it feels like it's starting to get a bit more personal, which is interesting. Whereas I think Australia had its first 0 cases day countrywide for like 6 months or something like that today, so that's good. Basically, the southwest wasn't affected last time around. Okay, fair enough. Like it's a bit more in that region now. That makes sense. It's quite possibly. So much dry brushing. But that's concept armies for you. That's what I signed up for. Just nobody tell Alex Jones because he'll get really cross. Dry brush, but not break. There's the key. think this makeup brush has had it as far as dry brushing goes. It's just not quite doing what I need it to do. It's not as soft as it was. How's this paste going? It's a little bit tacky. Don't want to put a wash over it yet. I've been abusing hashtag constant wankers way longer than Alex. True, true. Finally got unbunked by Ross after winding him up over those zombies. That the black and white corn one, Dave? With the blood, like the Sin City army. There are quite a few of those, aren't there? Just the same as there's lots of stone cast and lots of stone this and lots of stone that. And I'm okay with that. Now, that's going to be fun. Applies. Nope. Not an easy reach. Okay. It looks like enough, but he spent ages on his poster on how technically advanced instructions. Such a troll, Dave. Such a troll. Living the dream. Fair enough. Well, I make no pretensions about this army. I'm telling people what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but that's only because I figure people are here to watch me do it. As weird as concept as that is. I was trying to explain to my wife how Twitch streaming painting works, and she didn't quite. Well, one, she didn't get the appeal, and two, she didn't quite understand, like, that people don't just sit there and watch it like it's a TV show. People generally have it on while they're hobbying or doing something, and it's just background music or something to sort of half distract people. She just sort of assumed that people would be sitting there in their living rooms just watching me paint on the telly, and it was kind of interesting to see, like, outsider perspectives on stuff that we probably take for granted a little bit. Don't know, I've got popcorn. Yeah, but you're a certain kind of special, Chris. I'd actually assumed you'd gone to bed. You'd been very quiet. So I don't think she quite... Still probably doesn't understand as much, but you know. You've set yourself the goal of building the last 10 thralls in line with the stream. Cool. See? Pushing people to further their hobby. Well, I kind of wanted to... People watch me for my scintillating chat. Yeah, she would believe that even less, Dave. She doesn't want to listen to my nonsense. Why would anyone else? She still did. She never quite understood how the podcast worked or why I wanted to do it. Actually, she said no in the start about doing it, so. I'm happy that I'm pushing on with these OVR. Like, I want them done by the end of next week. So this is probably dry enough that I can throw the wash down. So we just darken this down with the Agrax. I will finish this model tonight. Even if we have to go into chat, into stream overtime. I think it's so. I'm talking about pushing this around because the bottom's not underneath. It's not dry. Talking about Marathi before. I think it's very interesting how they're pushing a lot of the old school models in the like this with the storm keeps. It's all Liberators and it's all first wave Stormcast, which is interesting. But I'm not across the new rules enough to know if it's going to actually make them any good. It's one of those I have to wait and see things for me. Right, so I'm just going to, because I've got a couple of things dry in here, so I'm just going to switch to the hairdryer again. So, talk amongst yourselves. Righto. Hadn't hit the returns on the mold investment. I feel like they've probably gotten a pretty good investment of return on investment out of the Liberator sprue. Can you imagine how many of them they sold in the height of Vanguard Wing? The Storm King battalions, one with the name Veritan and one with the normal Veritan, let you deploy a bunch of stuff 9 inches away after setup, but before the first. Oh, Jesus. That's not bad. Oh, that's cool. I feel like it'll be good for people who have that sort of stuff, like yourself, Chris, who has 1,000 Liberators and Paladins, like the Protectors and Decimators and all that sort of stuff. Adjudicators, like, not that Adjudicators were ever bad, I suppose, but like, it'll be interesting to see people like bring stuff out that they haven't used for so long. One of them's keyword, isn't it? Like, Justicar and Redeemer or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Redeemer, yeah. Yeah, it's looking... I'm really looking forward... I've tried to avoid spoilers on the lore stuff, because I'm really looking forward to like going to, like I was talking about with the End Times books before, going to Battle Station, picking up my copy of Marathi, and then like sitting down that afternoon with a drink and just like going through and reading it and finding out all of the cool lore for myself. The rules are just a bonus for me, really. Spoilers, Marathi was never a goodie. Yeah, well, I feel like they made it clear, like, when they came out, that, like, Daughters of Cain, for the most part, like, order doesn't mean good. I feel like they tried to make people remember that when the Daughters of Cain come out. When people are like, oh, I feel like these should be chaos or destruction or whatever. No, just, yeah. So, keen, very keen to read it all. And of course, there's been endless speculation on what's coming next and what the next, Broken Realms books are going to be. So we'll see. Get through this one first. So they're determined as stoned. I reckon we're probably going to be able to do this Soul Mason in the same session as the Harvester. So I'm just gonna Tyrant Skull. It's a great dry brush color. I'm just gonna Tyrant Skull this texture. Alahil reborn in her war form. Yeah, perhaps with a war scroll that's as angry as she should be. Maybe. Who knows? Right. So that's all dry brushed up with Tyrant Skull. That you can see the bit of difference there. I've got the black behind me somewhere. Or not. Am I going crazy? Where's my army painter black? Why not? You love Sylvaneth, Chris. My bad and black. It's not army painted black, but it'll do. Imagine if you drop silver something like Seraphon. And just imagine. It's pretty much what you did, isn't it, Chris? Drop Sylvaneth for Seraphon. Very quickly. Yeah, I know. I couldn't quickly lay my hands on a bigger brush, so. I do have a bigger brush that I use normally, but I couldn't. It's probably over on my other desk. Righto, so that's that done. Righto. This guy, we need to start our OSL process. So Ash and Grey. I'm going to paint the gems, as Chris so wonderfully told us earlier. They're called gems, nothing special, just gems. Just seems so boring. What have we got? We've got panels here. And then a gem on the back. I feel like that's probably it for that chair. For the actual Soul Mason himself, we've got the gem here. We've got a panel. Got a gem there. A gem on his chest. Panel on his chest. Then we have the ghost. Once again, a bigger brush probably would be useful for this bit. Need to get better brushes. Okie dokie. What's a spirit host to do? Painting off camera again, well done. Just need to figure out the best place to put all this stuff. And we've got the gem on the back here. A panel. Right there. So I'll just let him dry. No, not on Spirit Host. Not doomed to fall over. Alright, so over here. Our rim's nice and dry, so glue on some tufts. Definitely need to order more tomorrow. So what have I got? More clumpy ones. Bit of PVA. Old crappy brush. I feel like I need another little tuft in there somewhere. It's a big empty base. There we are. Stop in here. Right. Bunch of tufts. Just Gamer's Grass winter ones. Leave that PVA to dry for a bit, and then we'll do the Valhalla Blizzard. Righto. Next stage, dry brushing these guys up. Just make sure this is absolutely dry. I do need this. Bit of Dawnstone. Too much. Too much. Righto. Just with a dry brush. Loosely over that. Stipple into that panel. Into that panel. Dry brush that. Alright. Then this dude, I just want to dry brush all the panels and things. And jewels, gems, whatever they're called. Alright, then I'm going to dry brush the spirit host. Most of it will be Dawnstone. No, I'm not going to paint the tail. Dawnstone will be the last. Go down there. so that's that done. Then we go to Minister on Grey. That is not Minister on Grey, that is Auckland Grey. Well done. There we are. Now this is Minister on Grey. Dry brush these jewels very lightly, make them nice and bright. On this particular model, like, most of the focus is going to be on that spirit, so it's not terribly much, not worth spending too much time on that. How are you going with your 10 thralls, Chris? Six done, just cut out 3 of the last 4 to finally together. Oh, okay, cool. You're getting there. Now I want Auckland Grey. Well, I've got to do Valhalla Blizzard on the Harvester, and that's done. We'll see if we can get 2 models done in the 3 hours. Because then I think... What have I got left then? I've got Catacross and the 6 Stalkers for the army. So that's pretty good. And I've got some other, like, endless spells, and I've got another character and a Liege Cavalos and stuff, but, like... I don't have D&D tomorrow night. Normally I have D&D on a Wednesday, so I don't have D&D tomorrow night, so I might paint 6 Stalkers tomorrow night. You just never know. Then I imagine you're working, Dave, rather than hobbying. I stopped playing Warfighter Throw because it was on my desk. Distraction at its finest. Righto, so I had in here a detail brush somewhere in my pile of nonsense. There we are. Fair, fair. Warp fire thrower there. Just painting these little runes in so that I can do the Aethematic blue. It's not watery enough. not thin enough. Whoa, 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 calm down. Came with poison wind mortar I was buying to use as acolytes to bring my unit of 30 up to 40 now to change the max. So now you've got twice as many units. That's a positive, right? That's how I'd choose to see it. Just be thankful you didn't buy a ridiculous amount of the old metal Globadiers. You own one, the unit champion. Hey, that's alright, that's pretty good. What are they in pounds, I imagine? I think it's just dropping him. Yeah, I wonder, what are they worth in pounds? Like £10 or something like that each? £5? I don't know. They're worth a ton over here each. £9 each. So I'm just going back, Chris, with the Ulthuan Grey around the eye socket to this dude, because I'll do the Aethermatic Blue on that. Just to make sure he's got glowy eyes as well. £7 or £8, ridiculous unit. Yeah. Yeah, they went from maybe a handful in an army to needing 30, which is just a bit wrong. It is silly. It is absolutely silly. It is whatever is on the... It should be the Synthwave playlist on whatever this music app is for Twitch. Basically, it's meant to be music that's not going to get my stream kicked off for copyright violation. But you're right, it's very video game, isn't it? I wasn't even sure whether you guys could hear it. Yeah, pretty much, because I can't talk 100% of the time. What was I going to say before then? It was something about bloody acolytes. It's very faint, yeah. I think I've got 2 sets of the Skaven Blood Bowl team in a box somewhere for the purposes of converting into acolytes. When I had an idea for a Scryer army, I asked around if anyone had any acolytes and just got given this box of things. So I'm sure I'll turn them into acolytes at some stage. I'll just play Blood Bowl with them. Yeah, well, I now own 2 Blood Bowl teams, and I've never played a game of Blood Bowl, so I've got the aforementioned Skaven, and I have the Dark Elf team to turn into Blackheart Corsairs, because they're really cool, because they're like running and they have a lot of energy about them, which the old school Corsairs are good models, but they're not quite as dynamic once you put them on a circle. So never had much interest in playing Blood Bowl. Fits in here somehow. Athematic blue around the eyes. It's either fun or infuriating. I've got children for either being fun or infuriating. Sorry, Dave. That's what parenting is all about, right? I want games to be fun all the time. Oh, gosh, there's a bit of funk guitar in this track. I've been playing the Castle Ravenloft board game with my kids. It's quite fun. It's got some minis in there that I've been painting up with contrast and stuff. But I recently bought I think it's Steamforge Games make like Dungeons and Doggos or something like that, and they've made like a starter set where you've got adventures and some like RPG minis that are also dogs and cats. So I've bought that this week. I'll read up on the module and run like, I think it's like improvised 5th edition D&D, but you know, you can be a Labrador paladin or something like that. Something quite cool with the kids. Plus, despite, yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think it's just like an improvised 5th edition. Like it still uses all D&D stats and stuff like that. So. Even though sort of Elliot's painted up his like all of his Nighthaunt and stuff, we've still not played a game with them yet. So I've got plans to build a table for here. So I'm gonna get the kids to help me with that as well. Righto, there we go. This dude is finished in 2 hours and 50 minutes. So that's done. Awesome. They are tiny figs as well too, Dave. They are like tiny, tiny models. And this guy, he's just about done too. He just needs basing. So what I might do, might just put the paste down, and I think that will probably be where I leave it. Take him out just for simplicity's sake. Yeah, they are super detailed. I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle them. I was going to paint them with the kids, but I don't think that's going to be a good time. Like Elliot can competently paint Nighthaunt details and stuff like that, and Amelia can sort of paint some Stormcast, but I don't think they would be able to tackle the detail on the dogs, considering the size. So Russ Charles have designed them. I don't know actually. Can I reach my set? No. Sorry. I will bring them up though and have a look while I wait for that texture paste to dry. Animal Adventures RPG. It doesn't sort of say on their website who sculpted them, I don't think. On my quick flick through. Yeah, sorry, Dave. It doesn't sort of say who designed them. It might on the box, but it's too far away. So I'll put some super glue in here. I'm going to put old mate in. Okay, cool. I don't know. I think with these two, I'm happy to leave it there because I'm not going to force the texture paste to dry. I'm happy that I got my harvester done. So I think I will call it there for the evening, gents. And hopefully you can finish up your thralls quickly, Chris. And hopefully your warp lightning cannon is working out for you, Dave. I'll probably jump on Sunday afternoon our time, so probably early morning for the UK. But something a couple of the Kiwis have sort of said that this is a bit late for them, so hopefully an earlier afternoon stream suits them as well. Anyway, I'll catch everyone next time.